Hello there guys, welcome back with another video. Thanks as always for passing by the channel, much appreciated. Hit that subscribe button if you guys are new. Don't forget as well, please to like and share the videos. A big thank you to everyone who's been getting involved so far. Right, well, another great night of mixed martial arts, another great night from the UFC, plenty to go through, so no messing about, let's get into it. Night started off fantastic with that great first round KO Trevin Jones got over Mario Bautista. That set the standards for the evening really, and then it just got better. Like I said, I'll focus mostly on the main card, but a couple of standout performances from the prelims were Trevin Jones and of course Dominic Cruz picking up his first decision win over Casey Kenny, which was great to see. His first win since UFC 199 or 98 or something like that. Solid win, great takedowns. Maybe it'll be good to see him against Aldo or Kobe Garbrandt next, because overall, like I said in my preview video, this card was stacked. It was brilliant. It did not disappoint either. This was especially good. The main card was definitely brilliant. A couple of predictions that I got right and certainly which I got wrong, but certainly there's one which stands out for me, and I think you all know which one it is. So if we go through the main card, I'm just going to summarize it all because I'm really enjoying this. Thiago Santos versus Alexander Rakitch, probably the weakest fight on this card really, so I'm not going to talk about this one too much. As it was a bit of a letdown. Some people think Santos should have won. I don't think that personally. I definitely thought the last round Santos won, but the right man won in terms of the fight because I gave it 2-1 to Rakitch. Yeah, not much of action in that. It was a shame there were no takedowns, which I thought would be. I thought Rakitch, if he was going to get a win inside the distance, that he would get it through a submission really. But Santos as well definitely isn't the fighter that he once was. That sort of fear factor seems to have kind of disappeared from him. Maybe John Jones was the one who exposed that. So not the greatest fight, but still interesting to see. And yeah, we move on. The one which definitely was one of probably the performance of the night in my opinion, Islam Makachev versus Drew Doba. Like, this fight was just complete domination. Like, Makachev won by unanimous decision. He showed that he really is the real deal. Fantastic performance. Like, I mean, he's literally one to watch because the lightweight division, as we know, is on fire at the moment. It's a great division to be in because it is stacked with talent. We've got Dustin Poirier, Gaethje, Oliveira, Conor McGregor if he comes back, Ferguson, Michael Chandler. He will be one to watch. And the thing is, he spoke about a potential fight between him and Tony Ferguson, which I wouldn't complain about at all. I'd love to see that. Even though I think Ferguson is washed, I still think that could be a fight, a kind of passing of the torch fight. A kind of like Ferguson, if he loses that, it's kind of like, all right, he'll hang up the gloves. Makachev's going to come in as kind of like a new entry into the lightweight division race for the title, and that could certainly elevate his status a bit. We need to remember Makachev is a student of Khabib Nurmagomedov, so when you've got the greatest of all time in your corner, people will begin to notice. And now I think he's got that down to a T. He's got his fighting down to a T because his grappling is just fantastic. You can literally see these kind of Khabib, reminiscent styles that he implements into his game plan. So he's almost like a mini protege of Khabib, which is a scary thought if you think about it, because at the end of the day, Khabib cleaned up the lightweight division, by himself. If this is a young protege, which is looking like a younger version of, a newer version of that, anyone with lightweight division needs to be paying attention to this kid because he could go on to do some damage. So yeah, it's just a matter now of just getting him some more credible opponents, which I think they will. So overall, fantastic from Makachev. I can't wait to see what the future holds for that lad. Hopefully he'll get him against Ferguson because Ferguson needs to go. All right, now on to the most controversial fight of the evening, Petr Yan versus Aljamain Sterling. Man, this fight, again, I had this as my potential fight of the night winner. This fight started out really good. You could arguably give the first round, maybe the second one to Sterling, but after that, Petr Yan came into it. Like, his striking was just phenomenal, as I said. He came out looking strong. He was focused. He managed to score a knockdown. Was it the first? I think in the first round, and he was definitely winning the fight from the second round onwards. He just was dominant. He was so dominant, but he lost his cool, and then we all know what happened. He threw an illegal knee, which was illegal, you know, and lost the fight by default basically because Sterling said that he couldn't continue. It was so disappointing, but it was, you know, it was clearly an illegal move. You know, both his hands were on the floor, both his knees were on the floor as well. So it was it was such a shame because that would have been literally a challenge to Makachev for performance of the night. Some people think Sterling overreacted and played up the knee in order to fight for his to be stopped. He might have done. You know, he clearly didn't want to be in there. Maybe he was just looking for a way out. You know, it's not like when we saw Jones throw that illegal knee. I forget about who it was, where the guy basically turned around and said, "Yeah, I'll fight. I'm okay. Don't stop the fight." But maybe he could have won if he'd called the fight off like this one, because Jan was winning on the scorecards. I think though it was just a moment of madness for him. People say that his corner encouraged him to do it. I don't think so. I think it was just a total, again, moment where he just completely forgot what he was doing, lost his cool, and he might have been, I don't know, he might have been frustrated by the way that Sterling was trying to kill time by staying on the ground. So yeah, great fight, but disappointing ending. I think there's going to be a rematch in this one, and I hope there is, because Jan should be the champion in my eyes. You know, he's the better fighter. He was dominating that fight. He was going to win. And that's the way I see it. Not just because I like him. That's just the way I call it. And to be honest, I would favour him in the rematch. You know, if I'm Sterling, he's probably going to literally try and avoid Jan after feeling that power and them strikes from him. So it'll be interesting, but I really hope that Jan gets the rematch. You know, so disappointing with the ending, but first few rounds, fantastic. Loved it. Alright, so now we have got the co-main event, which I think this one was kind of a foregone conclusion. Went exactly as I thought it would go. Not much to say about this one as well, but we'll look into it anyway. Amanda Nunes versus Megan Anderson. Yeah, Amanda Nunes was just a flawless victory over Megan Anderson. Flawless, like, she just forget about any of these female fighters stopping Nunes. I mean, how are any of them going to contend with her when she's throwing out that volume of punches? You know, Nunes is strengthening her status as the GOAT, as they say, greatest female MMA fighter of all time, and it is tough to argue with that, because she just seems unstoppable at the moment. She's certainly the best female UFC champion of all time. I think the only real threat to her is Cyborg, and she beat her. Plus Cyborg fights on Bellator now, so that fight won't happen again anytime soon. Some people have been saying that they should make Nunes versus Shevchenko 3. I'm not interested in that at all. I just don't see the point. I think that's rinse and repeat, really. You know, Nunes now is just so many levels above the competition. It's frightening. And it might even actually be time. I know this sounds mad, but it might be time for her to switch organisations. She's cleaned up 2 weight divisions, and she can't go down to flyweight. So maybe she should just change to another organisation like Bellator or One Championship or something like that, and that would at least offer some fresh competition. Because she won't find it in the UFC for now. But either way, you know, fantastic takedown, incredible submission manoeuvre. Like, Nunes is just a joy to watch every time. Even if she stays in UFC, I'll keep watching her fights because she is just so entertaining. She is fierce. Well done to her. Like I said, greatest UFC female champion of all time. Let's see where she goes next. And now, the main event. One with the big upset. Jan Błachowicz was Israel Adesanya. Błachowicz defeats Adesanya by unanimous decision. 49-46, 49-45 and 49-45. A pretty impressive win from the Polish fighter who, as I said going into this, had gone under my radar a bit as of late, but now he's really elevated his status as UFC lightweight champion, and people will be looking at that performance a lot. I also love stories like his. You know, it's like he had a bad run of form. He was kind of written off after he got stopped last time. He came back against Rockhold and, you know, a few opponents afterwards, but people were kind of like, is he still the real deal? Now he's beaten Adesanya, who is a top 5, no less than a top 5 pound for pound fighter, which has put him back in the limelight again, and people are now starting to take him more seriously. Błachowicz was seriously impressive in that fight, and that's what I want to focus on, because a lot is being made of the fact that Israel lost, and I can see why, because whenever an undefeated fighter loses, it's always kind of like a big thing. But I think it's more important to recognise how good Jan Błachowicz was in winning that fight. He used his size, he used his strength, his power to his advantage. He took Israel down multiple times, which we've never really seen before. Not only did he take him down, but he kept him down and just dominated him, really. As soon as he got him down, he put his weight on top of him. And clearly Israel wasn't used to having someone of that size and stature and someone who was that heavy on top of him for such a long period of time. I mean, I scored it 4-1 in favour of Błachowicz. I could understand if it was 3-2 to Błachowicz, but I think Błachowicz was just brilliant. Israel just looked unprepared for it, really. I mentioned that I thought his decision to not bulk up was a bit strange, given that he's going up a weight class, and it cost him dearly, and it definitely did, because that lack of strength was just not there. Whenever you go up in weight, you have to have extra size on you, because you will be facing naturally bigger opponents, people who are naturally light heavyweight, who are stronger, who have more experience at that weight than you. And his decision to stay lean and try and fight like he does, like the same way he does at middleweight, just didn't work in this division. Also, I forgot to mention in my Canelo Yildirim video, actually, that the Joseph Parker Jr. Farr fight happened last week. It happened early in the morning for me on Friday, I think. I remember Israel Adesanya was at that fight, and I remember looking at it thinking, why is he still in New Zealand? Why are you not in America training? Because I've done long haul flights to Australia and New Zealand myself, and I'm telling you, the jet lag is grim, and it lasts about a week, week and a half, sometimes 2 weeks to get over it. Not making excuses for him, but that could be a factor. Like I said, he just looked unprepared. I think he went in a bit overconfident. You know, he seemed kind of like it was just business as usual when when you're going up certainly if you're going up a division, you have to do your homework and you have to be prepared. Look at what John Jones is doing before he makes his heavyweight debut. He looks massive. He looks absolutely huge, the biggest we've ever seen him, because he's not leaving any stone unturned. But you know that he'll live and learn from that. He will learn. Adesanya will come back. He's a good fighter. But like I said, more credit should be going to Błachowicz, because that was a well-deserved win. And I loved his demeanour afterwards. You know, he's really humble after he lost. He's still the top dog in the light heavyweight division. And what I like even more is that he said Glover Teixeira is getting the next shot at his belt because he feels he deserves it. You know, and that is the fight to make. Especially as he says, you know, Glover's getting older now. So he wants him to give him his shot before he retires, and that's really good. I like that about him as well. So that definitely, we can see where Błachowicz is going. He'll probably win that fight as well, just because Teixeira is so much older than him. As for Izzy, he will probably want to go back down to middleweight. He seems more comfortable and confident at that weight, and his defeat. See, he seemed to take the defeat pretty well. But that defeat will give the middleweights more confidence. See, that's the thing. They all know now that he can be beaten, that he's not invincible. So they'll all be looking at when he comes down and kind of rubbing their hands together and thinking, right, this is what I'm going to do. So it will be interesting. It's kind of shaking up the kind of middleweight division a bit, which is what I like about it. So credit to Jan Błachowicz for a well-deserved win. Kudos to Israel Adesanya. You know, I always respect any fighter that goes up in weight. And once again, credit to Dana White for getting this incredible UFC card done. I mean, you know, the guy's just killing it at the moment with these fight cards, and I love it. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Can't wait to see the next one, and bring it on. I'll see you all guys then, and peace.